and they are now sort of setting themselves up to, I guess, their future. I don't even know what I'm saying. Just like,
Just go on to what you thought. Just go on to what you thought.
Okay. Mr. Loving. So
You don't need...
being book 3, we can't really go into too many details.
What is going on? You're making me cry. You just entered a laughing fit and I don't even know what's happening. Hey besties, welcome back to another episode of Besties and Books. I'm Ellen and this is Sarah, and on this channel we drink wine, share laughs and read all books. So today we have our monthly reading wrap up for December. Oh my gosh, we're at the end of the year. What the hell? We were just talking about how fast this has gone. We have 5 books to review this month, and as always, our reviews are totally spoiler free. Don't forget, if you are loving our content, to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you don't miss any of our future videos. With that being said, what was the first book that we read this month?
All right, we are going to kick it off with Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh. Now, we did do a vlog full with all of the spoilers, all of our reactions while we were reading. If you're interested, check it out. This, as Ellen said, will be spoiler free. So this is book 5. Is this book 5? In the Boys of Tom series.
Yeah.
Yep. Follows the story
of... I think this is the first full series that we've followed too. That's not like a duology or a trilogy.
Oh, certainly the longest.
This is the first full series.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Agreed. So this one follows the story of Gibbsy and Claire. There's just one story dedicated to them, unlike Joey and Aoife and Shannon and Johnny. They each had 2 books dedicated to them. So Gibbsy and Claire, they are childhood friends and neighbours. They featured in all of the first 4 Tom books, so we're very familiar with them. We love them both. Gibbsy's always been the sort of the larrikin, the life of the party. So I was expecting this book to be a little bit lighter in tone. It is certainly not at all. This is a story with some very heavy themes. Gibbs has suffered some pretty severe trauma in his life, starting from as a very young child. He loses his dad and his sister in a tragic drowning accident, and that is just the beginning of sort of his trauma journey. He uses humour to manage his trauma, hence why he's always sort of hilarious, and I have often laughed out loud at just how classically funny this guy is. Claire, she is determined to tame him, I suppose. She sees through his facade to the vulnerable boy underneath, and she feels like sometimes she knows him, whereas he doesn't show his true self to anyone around. So it follows them from basically when they're 5 to when they're sort of late teens, as she slowly unpicks his trauma and starts to sort of get to the truth of who Gibbs really is at the core. So the book obviously has some huge lows, full of emotion. I was in tears at many points. Like overall, I loved it. There were some beautiful moments amidst all of the trauma.
Totally. I feel like when you go in expecting one set of trauma with Chloe Walsh, she hits you with another really big, unexpected plot twist / extra layer of trauma that just sends you on a full tailspin. And I feel like with each book as well, they've progressively got darker. So It is definitely an emotional read, and I would not go into this series if you have really strong triggers. Always check your trigger warnings. I think books 1 to 4 are pretty tame.
Yeah, or even 1 to 2 particularly.
Yeah.
When Shannon, obviously, there's a lot of physical abuse at the hands of her father, which was horrific. But
yes,
getting later
but
on
compared
in the book,
to the rest,
I was going to take me back to that, because that was that was easier to deal with for sure.
Yeah. I also found it a bit slow, I think, in parts in the beginning and the
Yeah.
middle, but then I think the last 50% of the book really took off and bumped it up half a star for me. I was sort of sitting around. Oh, I won't reveal my star rating just yet, but yeah, I had still a great star rating. I really enjoyed it, but it definitely bumped up in that last 50%. There was a lot of revelations, a lot of wow, a lot of shocks, and yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
Totally
The thing
loved
I'm
it.
very intrigued about is, so the book after this is going to be focused on Lizzie. And
Mm.
every scene she was in this book, I just progressively hated her more and more and more and more and more. And by the end of it, I was like, I could not stand her. And I
Yeah.
know that there's going to be a lot of trauma in her story, and we're going to read her story next. And I'm sure that we will come out of it loving her. But I think that's a real skill that Chloe Walsh has, that she just like sends you on this emotional roller coaster, and she can make you hate someone and then understand them and then love them and then, hate the new person. So I don't know how she does it.
Yeah,
She's
she
pretty amazing.
really is so good at making you realize that someone like lashing out or yeah, lashing out, having emotional breakdowns, maybe lots of mental health issues, depression, whether it's ADHD or whatever, there's usually more to the story. There's a background, there's more, unless you're a complete psychopath, which some of the characters in her books are. A lot of the time there's more going on for that person. There's trauma, there's PTSD, there's mental health issues, whatever. So yes, she is so good at doing that. With that being said, should we give our rating? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.5.
5. Did I give it 5 or
Oh,
four
you
and a half? I don't remember.
gave it
I think I might have given it 4.5. Anyway,
a 5.
it was
I
good,
think you might
whatever it
have. I
was.
think you might have. Yeah. But we're still thinking about it. We still love it. So maybe it deserves a 5. I was leaning towards a 4 for the first 50%, but then the last 50% was just like, oh
Yeah, I
my
remember
God. So
saying
yeah,
that
it
in
was
my
4.5.
vlog, that it was a 4-star, and then it like stepped up. I just can't remember how much it stepped up in my vlog.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh well.
So the next book that we read was Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRoux. This was our paranormal pick, but it's also arguably a dark romance as well. And in this story, we are following Raylan. She is a ghost hunter. She wants to find paranormal activity, be authentic as well, post videos about it on social media and YouTube, and make a career that way. She doesn't want to stage these paranormal events, so she's really focused on authenticity in this book. And then she accidentally summons a demon in the story. So she moves back to an old country town where she grew up, where her parents have moved away from. She moves back there. She summons a demon. His name is Leon, and I guess the story begins from there. There's a romance, a very dark romance. There's paranormal activity sort of going on in the background. I'd say the first 40% of the book, maybe even 50% of the book, is just pure smut. Like, it's very spicy, very, very, very spicy. But then in the other 50% of the book, we get more plot. So it becomes very plot driven, I think, in the last 50% of the book. The spice is still there, but it's not so in your face every page.
Yeah.
They're just like getting it on kind of thing. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yes, I did.
You're
Although,
like,
but
that was
I
pure
could
smut.
handle the spice way more than that feathers so vicious one. At least there was nothing about the spice it wasn't like dark and sort of like
Was it
borderline
non-consensual?
abusive. Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
2 people getting it on. But I really struggled with like their relationship. I didn't really buy it. I was like,
I
I just
agree.
felt
In my
like
notes,
she
I was like,
particularly was like, oh, I'm trying to be a bit too like gritty, or like I just didn't feel like there was any chemistry. And like they meet and then they're like, oh, and they're banging, and it was just like, oh, whatever. Like there was no build up or tension or drama or angst.
literally in my notes, I have 0 tension and attraction was instantaneous. Like there was no build up.
Yeah,
It's not a slow
yeah.
burn. It's
I
very
mean, same.
sort of
I
insta
found it was
lovey.
very easy. I found it very easy to read, and it was like
Me
mildly
too. I
entertaining the
binged
whole
it.
time. I think I finished it in a few days, but I don't know that I would go out of my way to recommend it to anyone.
I would recommend it, but I would recommend it as a really, I was about to say fun, lighthearted read, but it is quite dark at points. It's just not a very complex book. It's not going to blow your mind or change your life, but it's if you like dark romance, it's easy to read. I'm a bit of a wuss, and so I did get scared a lot of the time in the second half of the book to the point where I was terrified there were demons in the hallway when I was going to the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
got quite scared.
I was thinking, because I read this one, I often listen to books on Audible, but as I was reading it, I did think, oh, I'm glad I'm not listening to this one and like running around the streets at 5 a.m. when it's dark. I was like, this is what I'd much rather read. But I actually think I would be open to reading. There's 2 more books in the series, and they've set up the. Have you read what the books 2 and 3
there?
about?
I thought it was a standalone.
No,
I thought it was a standalone.
And I have a feeling that the books 2 and 3, it's all going to be set at the same time. You know how there was the Juniper character, and she was she sort of. Earlier on in the book, they allude to the fact that there's a girl who has escaped sort of a ritual killing, and that was years ago, and she sort of ran off, and she's like mentioned a few times, and she comes back into the story towards the end. So one of the books is about her and Leon's friend. You know how Leon's friend and Juniper have sort of
Zane. Was it Zane?
Zane, yes. So one book's about them, and then the other book is about the half sister or the sister who's the witch and shacked up. Yes, and she's shacked up with like the demon prince. And the other book's about them. So
I'd be keen to read those.
Yeah, and I think
because I really liked Zane and Juniper. Juniper,
yeah. And I like the interactions that we had in the first book on those other 2 couples. I was like, I think I sort of, they appeal to me a little bit more than Leon and Ray. I don't know. And like, I think there was one scene where she was describing what Leon looked like as well, and that sort of turned me off a bit. Like, he was quite like skinny and scrawny. She described him, and I was like, no. I know that I'm like,
I don't remember that.
It's just, I was like, I'm not sure. And he's sort of like, I sort of imagine this like skinny, scrawny, like goth sort of pale-faced male, and I thought, not really for me. But I mean, it was it was entertaining. So I'd read the next one.
Yeah, I was thoroughly entertained. I'm actually keen to read the next one now that I know it's about the other characters and it doesn't follow them. I think the biggest thing for me that knocked it down a peg, or quite a few pegs, was so much heavy smut in the beginning without any attraction or context.
Yeah.
And the instantaneous relationship. It gets
to the point where you're like, I don't really want to read this. I just want to skip it. Get to the plot if there is one.
I feel like it was arranged the wrong way around. Like, they should have had the paranormal stuff first and him protecting her from that, feeling this sort of attraction but not knowing why. And then coming
building
together towards the end would have made more sense to me. I don't know. Anyway.
I agree.
All right, with that being said, let's give our star rating.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
3.5. Pretty close.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, moving on. What's next?
All right, book 3. This month we have Brimstone by Callie Hart. So this is a new release, book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series. We have been dying to read it. We did do a vlog on this with no spoilers. So Ellen has seen all my videos and knows what I thought of the book. I have no idea what you thought of the book. But this essentially just follows straight on from book 1.
Sorry, just to interject quickly before you get further into the plot. This review won't contain spoilers for Brimstone, but it will contain spoilers for Quicksilver. So if you haven't read Quicksilver, just skip ahead 5 minutes and you'll be on to the next book.
Good point.
Go ahead.
So Ceres has found herself Queen of the Vampires, a role she doesn't want, but she does see it potentially as a means to get what they want, which is an end to the sort of ongoing Fae vampire conflict. I can't give too much away. There's obviously new conflict afoot. A rot is spreading throughout the land, and they do not know how to stop it. They are desperate to prevent it from essentially destroying everything. So a lot of the story focuses on this. So that's it without giving up too much. I want to know what you think, because you already know what I think of the book.
Yeah. Look, I loved being back in this world. I love the characters. I love Ceres. I love Kingfisher. I love Carrion. I think he's my favorite, actually, to be honest. And I even love the fire sprite. I just
Archer.
loved the fire sprite so much. Making me laugh out loud many times throughout the book. Thoughts though? Whilst I love those aspects, I did find it quite slow. A bit of the plot didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And
Which bits? Do you know which bit? Oh, I guess you can't say.
there was just, no, I can't really say. But what I could say is I really wanted Carrion to have a strong presence in this book. And he did, which was great. I loved that. But I don't know if you noticed this. Every joke he made was over-explained in the book. He would say the joke. And then it would land and I would laugh. But then the joke in the next few sentences would be explained as to what he meant by that joke.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
So
frustrating. Fair.
Oh, I hated it. It just made me cringe and it made me like, this is so, it's just giving me the ick. And the more it went on, the more, annoyed it was. In saying that, I did enjoy the ending. I thought that Actually, before I get into the ending, I do have to say, with Quicksilver, there's some bonus chapters on the author's website. And if you read the bonus chapters, I think you would expect a lot of those elements to come into Brimstone. And they did not have any presence really at all until the last 5% even of the book, or 10% of the book. And so I also found that a bit disappointing. I really wanted those bonus chapters to come into it a bit more. Look, it sounds like I hated the book. I still really enjoyed it. Like, I still had a really good time.
Like you said, that we had very high expectations.
Yeah.
So it is hard to live up to.
So
I also found
you
like
go into
the
what
50%,
you thought, even though I know.
It definitely slowed a little bit for me. I think overall it lost a little bit of the momentum that book one had. Like book one sort of was a slow getting into the first few chapters, which I would expect of sort of book one of any series. And then book one I couldn't put down. Whereas this one I got to the halfway point. I really enjoyed it till there. It slowed a bit. Like if I was being very cynical, I would say that a lot of the book was like they went here, then they went here, then they came back here, then they went here. And then okay, but what's actually happening? Yeah. And then she introduces all of these like awesome side characters. Like there's Tal and there's Foley and the witch lady and the healer and her partner and like so many people, but no one, I feel like it didn't go anywhere with anyone. Even like Ceres's brother Hayden, who sort of like, is mentioned, like that didn't go anywhere either. That was just a bit of everything just felt like it abruptly ended or it wasn't developed.
Yeah.
My second gripe was that it felt like there were just convenient solutions to problems. So this a book appears out of sort of nowhere, but there's a story to how it got there, and that guides Ceres, and everything that happens is like, oh well, I'll just refer to the book, and then that will tell us what we're going to do. It's like, oh, that's quite convenient. And then some huge changes happen in the Vampire Kingdom. That again at the time was like, oh my gosh, this is a shocking thing, and then it just sort of, but that's it. It's just. That's the end of, I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of build up to just cut it all off. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's going to
I almost feel like Brimstone should have started where it finished. Does that make sense?
No.
And if you've read the bonus chapters, you would know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'll explain it to you on the side. I don't know. It was just weird.
There was nothing in it that was really, I mean, apart from the ending that you sort of like, oh, there's a bit of a like, what's going to happen next? And maybe something within the Vampire Kingdom. There wasn't really many like twists or turns or betrayals or suspenseful moments I didn't feel. Maybe not as much as book one.
No, nothing happened.
Anyway.
And then I felt like when the obvious thing did happen, you almost expected that to unravel because it didn't make sense because it was so obvious that it happened. I don't know if I'm articulating myself very well, but anyway, it feels bad because we still, I think, rated this book quite highly. Like we still really enjoyed it. It was just, we need to get the gripes off our chest because we had such high expectations.
Yeah.
with that being said, let's give it our rating. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. 4 stars.
Same.
Yeah, I knew we were the same.
Yeah, I knew you knew.
All right, so the next book we have this month is The Second Death of Locke. This is a new release. I think it came out in September, so we were super excited to sort of jump ahead of the trend. I've only seen this book reviewed a handful of times, and in this book we basically follow Gray, who is, I keep thinking she's male for Gray. I don't know why I associate it with that, but she's actually female. So she is the Well, which is basically a source of power to her mage, whose name is Kier, is how I pronounce it.
Kia.
How you would pronounce
Yeah.
it?
I listened to the Audible version.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, she is the well or source of magic for Kier, and they embark on a quest, I guess, to find the heir of Locke because they're concerned that magic is basically going to die out, and they want to protect the wells and the mages and so forth. So, what did I think?
Be honest.
I have to. This is my first DNF on the channel, guys. I am sorry I did not finish this one.
How far did you get in the end?
Care less. Look, let's get into the decent parts that I liked. I loved the start. I was really intrigued. It drew me in, and there was a big reveal at about 15% into the book, which I really appreciated because it didn't give me time to think about it, guess, and be like, oh, this obvious plot twist is going to come into it. I really liked that. Early plot twist, fantastic, drew me in. But then that's sort of where it died off for me. They sort of kept embarking on this quest. I could not give a damn. I was still intrigued though to continue. I got to the 40% mark. I messaged Sarah and I was like, how are you going with this? I'm really struggling. I'm bored. Sarah's like, oh, I'm pretty, it's intriguing enough. I'm happy to continue with it. So I'm like, okay, let me give it to 50% through.
Have I, when you messaged me? I can't remember now.
No, I think you were around 20% and I was at the 40% mark. So pretty close. So I was like, okay, I'll give it to 50%. And if I'm still clawing my eyes out, then I'm going to DNF. And sure enough, it just didn't pick up. I got to 55%, I think. And I was like, do you know what? I'm done. I can't. This is so painful for me to read. It was like that other book that we read that I wouldn't DNF and I was determined not to go through that again.
Oh, yeah, what was that one?
So unfortunately, I can't give a rating on this one because technically I didn't read it. So I think you need to go into your thoughts.
Well,
You DNF'd as well?
No, I did finish it. But I only finished it today. So it took me a long time to finish it.
Okay.
I listened to the Audible version and I really enjoyed the voices. I think there was a couple of different voices. They all had these like beautiful accents. I'm not even going to guess what sort of accent they were. Probably Scottish or something. I don't know, Irish. So I don't know accents. Anyway, beautiful accents. So I would listen to it often as I went to sleep, and it would just put me to sleep straight away. And then I'd have to rewind the next morning because I wouldn't take anything in. But I mean, listening to the Audible version, I did struggle a lot with all of the names, like especially as they sort of get further into their quest. All these people come in and there's like the 6 different kingdoms and there's the representatives from its kingdoms, and it really gets into like the political intrigue and the alliances, and half the time I'd be like, who are they even talking to? And I don't think it helped that I was like, I kept falling asleep at night time and then having to rewind and then falling asleep and rewind, so I'm sure I missed like little sections along the way. But I did get to the end, so I can tell you what happens in the end later if you'd like to know. I mean, for me, there were really no highs or lows. It was like a very monotone book, I found. And I could easily have DNF'd it, I think. But I just like really enjoyed the voices, so I just kept listening to it. But yes, I wasn't dying to get to the end. Like the relationship between like Gray and Kia, it does develop, and there's some really sweet sort of moments. It's not spicy at all, but they just have some, these like touching moments of like, we're here for each other and like, I'd give my life for you and blah, 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 and all that sort of like emotional hoo-ha, which didn't really, it was like, oh, that's cute, but I wasn't on the edge of my seat hooked on the story at all.
Oh, just quickly, I also didn't love that their relationship had already begun when the book had started. I felt like I didn't know each of them as individuals, and I found that really jarring.
Yeah, when we first read the book, and I remember like we read the synopsis, I was like, oh, I don't think I like the fact that they're like mates already.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, what's your rating?
But yes, I mean, I finished it. I rated it a 2. I probably could have rated it a 1. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I wouldn't read the second one. But if you enjoy Audible books and you want like some background noise, go for it.
What a review. If you want some background noise, some white noise while you're doing your chores or something, or want to go to sleep, this is the perfect book for you.
Good.
Oh, what a crack up.
All right. Book number 5 for the month, A Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, this is book 3 in the Blood and Ash series. We have read the first 2 books in previous months. Book 3 follows on straight from where book 2 ended. We're following Poppy and Castile. There are 2 main characters in this series. Poppy and Castile are navigating Poppy's heritage and her developing powers, and they are now sort of setting themselves up to, I guess, their future. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Just go on to what you thought. Just go on to what you thought.
Okay. I'm still loving. So
you don't need...
being book 3, we can't really go into too many details.
What is going on?
Okay.
You're making me cry. You just entered a laughing fit. I don't even know what's happening.
I'm just laughing at my pathetic comments. All right. Being book 3, I'm not going to give away any of the facts. But what did I think of this book? I was getting a little bit tired maybe of the Poppy and Castile relationship. I enjoyed the book, and I still got through it quite quickly, but there was just this like almost annoying puppy love going on between Poppy and Castile. Like there were a lot of comments about how amazing they both were, how fantastic they were, how they were the best in the world, blah blah blah. Like they were all loved up. There was no conflict. I mean, there was conflict happening around them, but there was no drama or conflict. Not that you want to necessarily have conflict, but I think it just got a bit boring, maybe, between them.
But it creates tension, right?
Yeah, there was just nothing. I was like, I didn't care for them every time. Oh, and I feel like there was a lot of sex scenes. So, man, I was just like, oh, I think I skipped through a few of them because I was like, oh, boring. Just like get on to the next thing. I want to see what you're going to do. I want to see you in your badass state.
So what I've said is, in my notes, there was a lot of random info dumping that didn't make sense. There was quite a lot of plot holes. There's a scene where and this isn't really a spoiler because I'm going to keep it vague. There's a scene where she commands the Wolven to do something and they respond, but then something happens with the Wolven later on where she commands them again, and there's some secret sort of connection there between her and the Wolven, but that wasn't there the first time that she commanded them, so I was really confused by that. I was like, what is happening? Felt like there was a lot of plot twists that didn't make sense. It just felt like there were holes in it. I was a bit bored. I didn't care about Poppy and Castile anymore. There was no tension there for me, and I said, I was really struggling by the 40% mark. It was still okay. I still read it. I wasn't like so bored that I was, clawing my eyes out like I was saying before. I still found it enjoyable. Still got through it quite quickly, and I think it's a pretty big book.
Yeah, I think it is.
And yeah. The ending.
Would you read the next one?
Okay, as well, but nothing mind blowing.
All right, should we rate it?
1, 2, 3.
3 stars.
So that is a wrap for December. We had lots of great reads. I actually think we might have rated a book in every single star that you could. We had a 5-star, 4, 3, 2, 1, like literally all across the spectrum. But what a month. Don't forget that if you're loving our content to like this video, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our future videos. With that being said, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.